Hello everyone, March W13 here with another hotel review. This week we are in Galveston, Texas at the DoubleTree Hotel, Galveston on 1703 Seawall Boulevard, right on the Gulf of Mexico. And for those of you who are unaware, Galveston is a beach town. It's an island just south of Houston, about an hour's drive south, depending on where in the Houston Metroplex you reside. Now, this is a superior room on the top floor, which is the 5th floor. As you can see, mostly orange colors with some blue, sort of a beach motif. And let's start our tour here in the entryway, which is relatively well lit. There's a light switch right here next to the door, along with a do not disturb sign. Fairly standard stuff. This room, as you'll see, is relatively small. So the theme, I would say, is small but functional. Nothing necessarily bad about the room, particularly given its prime location. So you have a lit vanity mirror here in the bathroom, as well as its big brother, a lit mirror that appears to be suspended from a rope. It's probably just decoration, but that gives it that sort of nautical theme and appearance. The bath amenities are from Crabtree and Evelyn, appear to be verbena and lavender scented, and you have plenty of that. You have shampoo and conditioner, bath soap, and facial soap. It's always confusing what to use facial soap for. I think you typically end up using it to wash your hands. And you have Kleenex, which is important given the spread of the flu and the coronavirus as of late. There is a hairdryer, more of this sort of beach kind of theme here with the slatted wooden boardwalk style little ledge there on which plenty of towels are placed. And there is a toilet. Flushing action is perfectly fine, and some locally themed artwork. It says Galveston Island, Texas, love, with the O in the shape of Texas with a little heart there, signifying the location of Galveston, again just south of Houston on the Gulf Coast. And if we look here at the shower, again, everything is just rather pedestrian. It's modern. Nothing special about the shower head. And the shower itself is relatively small, but again, chic and sleek. Now, as we exit the bathroom to our left, before we enter the main living space, aka the bedroom, let's check out the closet. And again, the woodwork here sort of gives the room that beach cabana type motif. And the closet, like everything else, is just a bit smaller than that to which you may be accustomed. There's no safe in this closet, but I believe there is one in one of the drawers in the main living space. So we'll check that out in a moment. Actually, plenty of hangers, looks like about 10. They're relatively decent quality hangers, wooden. You can hang your trousers, and they do provide a laundry bag, which means that they probably also offer some laundry services, probably denoted here on this piece of paper. In addition to the hangers, you have a ironing board and iron, and a little stand for your luggage, which I did not require today. Moving on to the main living space, which consists of a king bed, as previously mentioned. There's a little sitting area near the window and a combination desk slash TV stand slash chest of drawers, and just beyond that, near the rear door is a refrigerator upon which a little coffee bar sits. So we'll check all of that out in a moment, but first, a word about temperature control. There's a pretty standard looking thermostat here. You set the temperature, which it then attempts to seek, but there is also, although you can hear the air conditioner running at the moment, and that sound is actually coming from behind us towards the entryway, there is what appears to be a wall-mounted under the window air conditioning unit on the far side of the room there, of the same brand as the thermostat, but not completely clear whether that can be independently set. Probably not, and it doesn't appear to be on at the moment, despite the fact that the room is in the process of being cooled. But thus far, the room is cooling. It's a relatively cool day, certainly not the 100-degree temperatures with 100% humidity that we're likely to see in the summer, and it's doing a relatively good job in these mild conditions. On the wall, you see more sort of art paying homage to the locality of Galveston. This building appears to be a historic one from perhaps the Strand, but I'm not certain because I don't spend much time here in Galveston. But there are tons of historic buildings in Galveston. Most of the homes, many of the homes that have not been destroyed in earlier hurricanes are quite historic, and given that there hasn't been as much of a building boom here as there has been in Houston, you end up with a lot of historic preserved buildings. And with respect to the bed itself, it's actually on the firm side for a U.S. hotel, but looks like it's going to be comfortable, probably good for one's back. And atop the side tables here, pretty standard. There's a relatively good sized drawer. These lamps are sort of attached to a swivel here, which is an interesting feature, and also is a continued nod to that sort of nautical theme. The good thing about these little outlet pop-ups here, is that they have two USB outlets and one standard electrical outlet, and there's one on each side of the bed. So we're looking at least two electrical outlets and four USBs just on either side of the bed. So we're off to a good start. Now, the TV is nothing to write home about, but who really uses a TV anyway these days? It looks to be maybe 36 inches or so, and it's LG brand, so nothing wrong there. Some drawer space, actually plenty of drawer space, although one of the drawers, as I mentioned earlier, is devoted to a safe that you would traditionally find in the closet. And as you can see, the little door here swings open, and in doing so pushes out the drawer beneath it. So kind of an interesting feature there, but relatively standard safe. Glad the room has a safe. There is a guest services guide, as well as, believe it or not, a room service menu. You may not think of the DoubleTree as the prime sort of example of a full service hotel, but it does have a restaurant on site. I believe it's called the Long Bar. And anyway, the in-room dining comes from that restaurant, and looks like you can have breakfast possibly all day, if I'm reading this correctly. And this gives you sort of an idea of the food that you would find in the actual sit-down restaurant, as far as I know. And they sort of bill themselves as a restaurant serving local specialties with a bit of a twist. And you can see there are things like mango mahi ceviche, some Texas classics. There's a crab cake sandwich, selection of burgers and stuff like that. Prices look relatively reasonable. The internet here is completely free, the wireless internet. Unlike perhaps other properties, you don't have to log in, doesn't ask for your room number, and you don't have to be a Hilton Honors member. And remember that DoubleTree is a Hilton brand, has been for many years. And then there is this little lamp here. The modern chair here appears to sort of favor form over function and ergonomic comfort. There are no armrests. It's a very hard plastic orange chair, but it does have a very modern look. And the lamp certainly emits plenty of light, along with providing more USB outlets, so that would bring the total to 6. And there is a Keurig with a selection of K-cups and sugar and probably creamer and some cups with the heat sleeve stirrer. So you've got pretty much everything you would need. Probably just need to add water. And there is also a ice bucket here, and I believe there is an ice machine on this floor. Probably don't want to pay $3 for this Nestle Pure Life water, and there is actually also a vending machine just down the hall near the elevators. Not familiar with this brand of refrigerator, but it is kind of cool looking, kind of retro slash postmodern, not sure. And it actually does function relatively well. It, like many refrigerators that you find in hotels, it is not the most performant, but you can tell it does cool. And there is no mini bar in this room. As far as I know, this refrigerator slash looks like freezer there in the back is completely for your use, and it looks like you can also adjust the coolness level perhaps. And there's also a door. We'll see what lies behind that in a moment, because it is fairly special and probably the highlight of the room. But before we do that, there is a pretty comfortable looking, spacious, I would say, fabric chair there with a pretty plush pillow. Kind of looks out of place a bit in this room, because it doesn't look like it belongs on a beach, but everything else certainly does. And there's this little leather looking almost spherical ottoman here. Everything looks fine, plenty of light, more beach art, presumably depicting Galveston. And of course, one of the trademarks of DoubleTree, I believe, from its inception, well before it was acquired by Hilton, are these freshly baked cookies. You receive one, at least I received just one when you check in, and they are freshly baked, and mine was warm, and it was retrieved from a drawer, which I'm assuming either keeps it warm or it was truly just fresh out of the oven. Warning, it does contain nuts. Okay, let's say we find out what's behind door number 1. Ta-da! It's a patio with 2 chairs and a little table, and a warning there that says don't feed the birds. And that, ladies and gentlemen, is the Galveston Seawall Boulevard, and the Gulf of Mexico, with Galveston Beach just beneath the seawall. You can't really see that to which I am referring when I say seawall, but the seawall was constructed, I believe, in the aftermath of the great Galveston hurricane in the early 20th century, which destroyed much of the island and took many thousands of lives. And seawall is actually a relatively tall, but you can't really tell from here, barrier that raises this land on which we're sitting right now to a considerable height above the beach. Just beneath this balcony is the pool, and it looks like we have a couple of sunbathers enjoying the nice weather. I was surprised that the pool was so nice, although I haven't really been down there yet, given the fact that you have an entire ocean just across the street. I'm not sure why you would necessarily want to hang out by the pool, but it does look like the bar, where I believe is where you dine, at least in the evening, at maybe some points in the year, doesn't look like it's active today, serves drinks literally poolside to swimmers. As you can see, hopefully see those underwater stools. Aside from that, I just want to point out, I don't know if you can see it, but we're just down the street from the Hotel Galvez, which is one of the oldest, perhaps the oldest hotel on the island, certainly the oldest hotel on the seawall, with its infamously haunted 5th floor. And as you go down the seawall, we're looking west at the moment. You can see the Pleasure Pier, as well as Murdoch's, which is just a little gift shop on stilts. But as I mentioned, there are plenty of places to eat and plenty of things to do. You can go to the Strand, you can go to the Moody Gardens, and I think there used to be a water park here, but that may have closed. But anyway, what I plan to do is just sit out here on the balcony and enjoy the nice 68, 69, 70 degree weather. All right, folks, that's all she wrote, and that's all for this edition of Marsh W13 Hotel Reviews. Until we meet again, happy and safe and hopefully healthy travels for all of you. Goodbye.